Launching in late 2019, Apple Arcade is Apple's solution to the overcrowded and often scummy mobile games market. It contains over 180 games in one subscription price, and none of them contains ads or in-app purchases. They're all high-quality, well-polished games that can run on your iPhone, iPad, and most can even run on your Apple TV and Mac. But is it worth the price of $5 a month for this service? Let's take a look. My name's Aaron Craig with Let's Learn This Together, and I love talking about games, development, technology, and the industry in general. Now, I have been using Apple Arcade for almost a year now, and with their recent update that added a massive amount of new and classic games to their service, I figured now is the best time to finally discuss it. If you're interested in learning about other game subscription services, check out the video I just did on Xbox Game Pass. Now, let's dive into what we're getting with Apple Arcade. I'll be showing off some gameplay that I've captured too. I've really enjoyed the games I've been playing on Apple Arcade, even if they've only been for a few hours. They tend to be pretty unique, well made, and are entertaining to at least try out. So first off, what's the price? Well, it does depend on where you live, but in the US it's $4.99 a month or $49.99 for a year if you pay it up front, which saves you $10. It also comes as part of their Apple One bundle, which is currently how I'm paying for it, and that gives you Apple Music, TV Plus, Apple Arcade, and 200 gigabytes of cloud storage for $19.90 a month. We share that among 4 devices, using most of those services daily, so it's well worth that for us. I won't get into the nitty-gritty details of how the pricing all breaks down when bundling, but I wanted to let you know that is an option if you're already using some of Apple's other services. For an individual, it would only be $14.99 a month for all of that. In this day and age, $4.99 a month for a subscription is very reasonable. Compare that to Xbox Game Pass, which starts its cheapest offer at $9 a month, or PS Now at $9.99 a month. Apple Arcade comes in cheaper than all of those, with the same amount of games in its library. But Apple Arcade is a mobile game subscription service, so should we even be comparing it to its cousins of the console and PC game subscription categories? If the service wasn't to Apple Arcade, but just to a selection of mobile games, I would say there's no comparison at all. If you've played many mobile games, you know they're full of predatory behavior, cash grabs, and endless timers. Gameplay is nearly the same from one game to the next, just changing the skin and the thumbnail, hoping to get you paid for diamonds, gems, or whatever they're calling their in-game currency these days. There are a few good mobile games out there, but those ones are harder to find, and they usually require you to buy the game outright to play it at all. But that's where Apple Arcade really shines and how different it is. There are no in-app purchases in any of the games on Apple Arcade. There aren't any ads that pop up and get in your face either. Those are 2 of the big tenets that Apple has built Arcade on, which makes it stand out like a shining beacon in the darkness of mobile games. If you're someone who does drop money on gems or has the cash to speed up your building timers, then Apple Arcade probably isn't for you. For those whales out there who enjoy spending hundreds or thousands of dollars on a mobile game every month, it's not the price tag of $5 a month that's a turnoff. It's the fact that none of the Apple Arcade games are pay to win, so their money won't do them any good. But for the rest of us who don't like spending an endless amount of cash inside mobile games, Apple Arcade is a breath of fresh air, especially with their big release of games just a few months ago. They published over 30 games, including classic games like Cut the Rope, Monument Valley, Fruit Ninja, and so many more. These are great games that I remember playing years ago, but now they've been improved by removing all the annoying ads that used to plague them and have all the DLC that went with them. You can load up Fruit Ninja and actually just play the game. No ads, no purchases, nothing to separate you from the game. That, to me, is a refreshing experience when it comes to mobile gaming. I've gotten used to the ads, the pop-ups, the timers, and every other dirty little trick they throw at you, but they're still annoying. Sometimes I'll open a game, see it's a cash grab, and uninstall it immediately. But I haven't had that experience with Apple Arcade. If I download a game, I know I'm going to play it for at least 30 minutes to see if I like it, because it's not going to ask me to speed up my build timers a dozen times. The graphics on these games are also really great. I'd argue they compare with most indie games, if not some bigger budget games. There are some companies like Square Enix and Platinum Games that are creating Apple Arcade originals, and they're not skimping on anything. A game like Fantasian by Square Enix is a great example of a big studio going all in on Apple Arcade, creating a unique and fun game that looks amazing. And you can find dozens of examples like that. So I would say that you can definitely compare Apple Arcade to other subscription services and have them be on equal footing. Now, everyone has a preference, and some people only play PC games, or some will only play PlayStation games, and that's fine. Apple has no interest in them. Apple Arcade is not for them. Instead, they're after people who do play mobile games or would be tempted to play them if the experience was top-notch. Many of the games can be played with a controller on your iPad. And that's next level right there. You would have a hard time convincing me that it's not worth $30 or $40 in its own right for a game that plays like a console game on your iPad. But just like other gaming subscriptions, Apple Arcade has its own issues. And because most of the games you play aren't available to purchase at all, it even has a few unique to itself. So let's talk about that problem first, because I think it is a big issue. On all other gaming services, if you like a game, you can buy it. Makes sense, right? When you buy it, it's yours. You own it, you can play it whenever, even if you stop paying for that subscription. That's normal and makes total sense. Apple Arcade does not work that way, though. Many of their games are only playable while subscribed to Apple Arcade, and there's no way to play them otherwise. You can't just pick and choose a few to keep forever, like you can almost everywhere else. I think this problem will continue to rise in time as all digital storefronts and subscription services continue to dominate everything. But at least for now, if I like a game on Game Pass or PlayStation Now, I can buy it and keep playing forever. That's a no-go on Apple Arcade. And now Apple Arcade shares the same issues that other gaming subscription services have. That means that if you play just a single game for a long period of time, like a year, you're paying upwards of $60 for that one mobile game. Is it worth that price tag? Well, that's up to you. But my guess is as time goes on, it becomes less and less worthwhile, no matter how great that game is. It would be my dream that Apple adds the ability to buy arcade games so you can support the developers you love while getting to keep the games you pay for. But I am not holding my breath for that. One nice thing for Apple Arcade compared to other gaming subscription services is their games don't rotate. So everything that's ever been released on Apple Arcade is still available. You can go back through and play the very first games that came out. A lot of them still hold up really well, and if you'd be interested in seeing some gameplay from all of those, or maybe a review of more in-depth games from Apple Arcade, definitely let me know by leaving a comment down below. I think it would be a blast to play through some of those. But that's definitely a big thing that Apple Arcade has going, whereas Game Pass, if you like a game, it disappears after a while. Like my son was just playing Moving Out and he loved that game. It was his all-time favorite. And just a few weeks ago, it got taken off the service and he was downtrodden as all get out. And that can happen on most gaming subscription services is you don't control what's on there. But on Apple Arcade, well, you still don't control what's on there, but at least you never have to lose a game, which is pretty awesome. Looking at the pros and cons, for me the cons just are not a very big deal. Like I said, we pay for the family subscription, which is $19.99 a month, and we share that among 4 devices. I've got a 4 and 7-year-old, and I love that they can scroll through and pick out any games in there, and I don't have to worry about them getting inappropriate ads, seeing commercials for toys I won't be buying them, or they somehow spend $5 grand on in-app purchases thinking it was just money in the game. And trust me, that happens a lot more often than you might think. On the flip side of that, if you're someone who's looking for more mature games or lots of shooter games with blood, anything like that, you're not really going to find it in Apple Arcade. It's definitely more geared towards family-friendly games. And that's not to say that there aren't really great action-adventure games on there that you'd probably enjoy, but you're not going to find anything like Mortal Kombat on there. Everything on Apple Arcade, for the most part, is just great for everyone who wants to play it, and there's not really any age limits on that. Now they do have age suggestions on them, but I think the biggest one I've seen is like 9 or 12 plus, and that's not because the game was mature for language, sexuality, or blood or anything. It's just because that game was a little more complex. So that can be both a positive and a con depending on the kind of games you like. Now, as I said, I pay for the family subscription, which includes a big bundle. But I would argue it's still worthwhile even if you're an individual. It's a little bit less than what I'm paying, and you still get access to everything, and it's really, really great. And because Apple Arcade allows family sharing, it is especially suited to a small group to get the best value of it, especially for a family like mine where I can just let my kids pick out and play whatever they want. But for those individuals out there, I'd argue it's still worthwhile. Putting your money into what's important is how you make change happen. It's called voting with your dollar. If you spend money on sleazy mobile games, they'll continue to get made. But if you spend money on mobile games that don't promote those services, then they'll continue to get made. It's really that simple. Now, Apple Arcade isn't perfect, but for a price of just $5 a month, it's got my vote and my money. But what do you think? I'm a little biased here, I let you know that, but I tried hard to look at this from an objective viewpoint, giving you the facts as they are. Are you a little more interested in Apple Arcade now? Is there a reason you don't use it? Have you been using it from day one and love it? Let me know in the comments. I would really love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this discussion, please leave a like. And as always, keep making, keep learning, and I'll talk to you later. A huge thank you to all of the awesome people who support me over on Patreon. Their names are on the screen now, and every dollar pledged helps me create more awesome content. You can support me for as little as $1 a month and get access to exclusive perks like my Discord server, your name in the credits, early access to my YouTube videos and courses, and more. Check it out at patreon.com/letslearnthistogether.com or find the link in the description below and become a patron today.